Welcome, friend, to this especially sacred part of the Olympian sanctuary. This place is practically vibrating with divine energy. I feel like if I look over my shoulder right now, Zeus will be staring back at me. My name is Barnabas, and I am a ship captain. Don't be fooled by my scarred eye. Though I've seen my share of combat, I mostly stick to trading these days. Well, trading and introducing visitors like you to wonderful sights like this. The sanctuary of Olympia was dedicated to Zeus, king of the gods. It had close connections to the divine, as you will see very soon. I'll come find you when you're done, and we can talk about what you've learned.
Ίστα έχω εκποδία και είμαι καλήφωνος.
Τι
Ο πατήρ μου
γίνεται?
έλεγε ότι είναι ηχθέα.
This workshop was built for the renowned sculptor Phidias after his work on the Acropolis of Athens. In 435 BCE, Phidias came to Olympia to begin working on the great Chryselephantine statue of Zeus. He died 5 years later, shortly after completing his masterpiece. This grand statue would become one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Phidias's workshop was located right next to the Temple of Zeus. Its structure has been well preserved, mostly owing to its conversion to a church in the 5th century CE. Archaeologists have also discovered lots of ancient materials in the surrounding area, such as casting molds and sculpting tools. The most famous artifact, however, is a cup bearing an inscription that aggressively states, "I belong to Phidias." On the 5th and final day of the Olympic Games, victors attended a ceremony where they were crowned with olive wreaths and showered in flowers. The crowns came from the sacred olive tree of Zeus, which was planted near the god's temple. A young boy trimmed the branches with a golden sickle before giving them to the Hellanodikai to turn into wreaths. After the crowning ceremony, it was time for great feasting and celebration.
Όσοι τα προϊκόα έσονται του ανδρός της.
Επιχυμούμεν την ερήτραν. Ή ουπές γεννήσετε, τέλος γάμου έστε.
Αλλά όμως η τέρος τύπου
Φύλακος
Ό,τι
εξάστεως.
δύναται γίγνεσθε αξιοπρεπής.
Φυλαγρότη και ελπιδία, Τριμονίδης και πρωτών ελπίς, η κατέχεις ωραίων γκρεμούς, Θεά σώτηρα, άκουσα καλούς καρπούς, απογέης ειρήνην κερατήν, καλυπλόκα μου.
Pelops was both a legendary Greek hero and the mythical founder of the Olympic Games. According to legend, Pelops fell in love with the beautiful Hippodamia. Her father, Oenomaus, the king of Pisa, disapproved of their union. Having once heard a prophecy that he would be killed by his son-in-law, Oenomaus was known to challenge his daughter's suitors to chariot races, killing them when he won. Still, Pelops was determined to win Hippodamia's heart. Before the race, he enlisted the help of Poseidon, who gave him a golden chariot with 4 winged horses. Pelops was able to win both the race and the hand of his beloved, while Oenomaus was dragged to death by his horses. The start of this famous race was depicted on the eastern pediment of the Temple of Zeus.
Μάκαρ, Πολιόνιμε, Πυρίπολε και Τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ Ιδέ και Ιες, Αωτούχε, Ρημάτων, Κοσμορία και Φιλοκτών,
The Heraion was a temple dedicated to Hera. It is one of the oldest temples in the sanctuary, dating back to approximately 590 BCE. The structure included columns painted with images of women who won the Heraia, an athletic competition made up of running events. Every 4 years, 16 women were chosen to make a veil dedicated to Hera. These women also organized the competition, though they did not compete in it. The Heraia was unique for its focus on female athletes, in contrast to the male-exclusive Olympic Games. Hera was the goddess of women, marriage, family, and childbirth. She ruled Mount Olympus as queen of the gods, along with her husband and brother Zeus. Many mythological stories paint her as being annoyed at Zeus's many lovers and illegitimate offspring. In Greek art, Hera is usually depicted as matronly and regal, often wearing a crown or sitting on a throne. She is also sometimes seen holding a pomegranate, a symbol of both fertility and death. Hera's cult was very popular across Greece, and Olympia even minted her image on its coinage.
Ελθέ, Θεά σώτηρα.
Ενθάδε εσμένου γουν. Και.
Το σονδιδάκιον περιείχθη παυλόβιον. Έγνωτος άραγε που διακρίθηκαν τους
Αλεξάνδρος ως της Ορεσίδιος.
Συμμορείται πληροφορία να
Λέγει
λαμβάνει.
ούτως.
Τι άκρη λέει. Κληρονομήσεις της μητρός στην ουσία και λέγεις μη ως περξένο.
Ή ξένος. Πίστα όταν η μύθικη κλινής.
Ουχίος περσέ, μία πίπνουσα αναμένωσα τον έκυθο.
Μείωπες και βροντών ελπίς.
Δεν έπαιζε με
κατανοήσω τη λόγο.
One of the highlights of the Olympic Games was a ceremony that took place on the third day of the festival. It began with a procession of athletes, ambassadors, Hellenodikai, and animals. The group made their way around the Altis until they arrived at the temple of Zeus. Then the animals were brought in front of the altar of Zeus and offered as a sacrifice. This sacrifice was known as a Hekatomb, a word that originally described the sacrifice of 100 oxen. During the Hekatomb, the bones and legs of the animals were burned and carried to the top of a mound of ashes from previous sacrifices. Meanwhile, the meat of the animals was saved for a large banquet held later in the evening.
Ωρα πλείσμονες κλεπτριδίων εσπέ, θυμέ διαδένονται επικοινή.
Πνεύματα, τούτο ούποτε συμβήσετε, όσπερο σούκ εργάσεστε.
Είναι καλό. Κόβεται, μη εξέλθει και λάχι συναντήσεων πάλι ζήτης. Πού πέβηκε ουδενή ουδαμός. Λιθοκόπο ύβρον των πεδίων, τα ημάτια διερριγμένα, το σώμα με λένε το χρώα. Αίκαιος προσπληθέν υποβαλών, τυχερών εστιάδες.
The Olympic Games were dedicated to Zeus, and all the ceremonies and events were hosted in his honor. It is no surprise that the largest temple in the sanctuary was the Temple of Zeus. While most temples were restricted to priests, the Temple of Zeus welcomed all who visited Olympia. This openness was most likely meant to show off the gold and ivory statue of Zeus that stood within the temple's walls. The building also featured art depicting both versions of the Olympic festival's founding myth. The eastern pediment showed a scene from the legendary race between Pelops and Oenomaus. The temple's metapiece, meanwhile, showed the 12 labors of Heracles, the other mythical founder of the games.
Ενθάδες με.
Ήμεν το σου το προσδετή.
Zeus was the god of sky and thunder, and king of the Olympians. He ruled the world from his home on Mount Olympus. The child of Cronus the Titan, Zeus overthrew his father and cast the Titans out in a great battle known as the Titanomachy. He had children of his own with his wife Hera, including Ares, Hephaestus, Hebe, and Ilithyia. He also had many children without Hera, much to her consternation, but there are too many to list here. Zeus was believed to have control over the lives of mortals, as his many epithets attest to. For example, his title Horkios made him a keeper of oaths, while Xenios was the name conferred to him as a protector of hospitality. In Greek art, Zeus was usually depicted holding a thunderbolt and sitting on a throne, befitting his position as king.
σώτηρα άκουσα καλούς καρπούς από χέη.
The Temple of Zeus was home to the Chryselephantine statue of Zeus, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The statue, made of gold, ivory, and wood, was sculpted by the renowned artist Phidias. At 13 meters tall, it was as impressive looking as it was difficult to maintain. Oil was used to protect the wood and ivory from cracking and to prevent general decay. While the statue does not exist today, it was thankfully described by Pausanias in great detail, so its legacy lives on.
Μεγαλώνουμε και πολιώνουμε.
Ω ναι, ασχολεί αντινά βεβαίως.
Hello again! I hope you enjoyed your visit and feel a little bit closer to the gods. Well, as close as a mortal can get. Is there anything else you'd like to do? Of course! Follow me, my friend!
Και δίλαβοι εξεπολόμενε τη σειρά. Αναζητήσατε εσύ τον Ηλέον. Πώς γαρεξή και το κέμπερι στην ναυτική αποκλεισμή. Επήλθε αμέσως δια Κυρίνης. Έχουμε ναρτοποιούς και καμίνους. Φρίας θεσπογίτας άρτους ήλυνες εσύ ανεπίκλητη τη Διονύσο τραπέζι. Και πλακούτα...
Here, visitor, and welcome to this sacred site. My name is Herodotus, and I am a traveler from Halicarnassus. I retrace the cause of various events, such as wars and great calamities. I describe what I see and record what I'm told, all with the aim of providing a better understanding of why these things occur. Look for me to introduce you to many sites. Delphi is an amazing place to visit if you're looking for information. I've come here on several occasions in search of answers to some particularly puzzling questions, and sometimes I even found them. This is Delphi, home of the renowned oracle. Greeks considered it the navel of the world. Pilgrims and kings journeyed here from all over Greece and beyond, seeking advice from Apollo through the voice of his interpreter, Pythia. During your visit, you will experience the sanctuary through a pilgrim's eye and discover how important oracles and prophecies were to the people of Greece. Now, go off and begin your pilgrimage. I will be waiting for you at the end of your visit.
Χαίρετε και καλώς ήλθετε εις το μείζον πολιτήριον εδαφή. Ευώδη αρώματα εκ Κορίνθου και Κρήτης, δωρεύω ή εκ Κυρίνης και εξ Αθηνών, και ίνος εκ Θάσου
On their journey to the Temple of Apollo, pilgrims walked this sacred path up Mount Parnassus. The summer sun beat down hot on their backs. Along the way, they took in the magnificent monuments, treasuries, and statues that adorned the road. These landmarks were tokens of people's reverence for the oracle's benevolence. All were dedicated to Apollo, and most were offered by cities to commemorate military victories. The monuments represented not only their donors' piety, but also their power and wealth. The sanctity of Delphi has endured to the present day, and visitors still take this very same route.
assimilators. Ποιος εκείνος?
Σκηνικών εμπόρων. Πρωτίστως σκηνικών.
Κατανοώ ότι θέλει να συναντήσει με
Ναι, όμως γνώμησες τι επιχείρησες.
Ήχουεσαν ότι η θηγάτη μου εκκληρονόμησε νυχίαν και δούλους παραθείο. Γονεμόν φύσης τόνους φαρμαγέντα άπατα. Με λιθανόντες οι κατέχοντες, η τραπετεύει.
Άπασε εσημίξεις πάβοτε μόλις. Ποιος περσέ, μία.
Τι έστειν η πίστης, ήμεν το σούτο
Ήχουεσαν ότι η θηγάτη
ως για τον υποκριτόν κλέπτη χάρη του έθνους. Κύκλωθε το τραγωδόν εξ απόρων διευθαίνει μία ψευδομυθία ή τη συνεπιφέρει πράξεις και παρεπόμενα. Πράξεις και παρεπόμενα αυτών άτινα προεπιλέγονται και υφάπτονται αλλήλεις, κατά το δέον και αναγκαίων. Τραγωδία ανέρεσης εστί, εστί μιασμός, μυθιόμενος συνακλονίσει την ισορροπία του πνεύματος. Τας γυναίκας διαπέχεστε πόρο ταύτης, το αυτό και της δούλης. Τους νέους διδάσκεστε τα επιμηχανήματα αυτής για να ή η αισία να γνωρίζει ταύτα και τους σόφρονας πολίτας διευκαιάζει τους θεούς. Διοκλητώσει ούτως ώστε η... τραγωδία διευθύνει τους νέους και ούτι καταμαρθακίζονται. Εκπλήσει, αποφέρει το πυρί του ατόπου υποθάλποντι. Λέγει, ιδέο άνθρωπος και ιδέ το δέον πράττει. Συνίσχυει το κικαιώνα του μυαλού. Όχι.
Καταδικαστέ είναι ηθική αξία το τραγωδοποιό. Τραγωδοποιός έστι κλέπτης ως δια των υποκριτών κλέπτη την χάριν του έθους. Κύκλωθεν των τραγωδών εξαπόρων διηφαίνει μια ψευδο... Τραγωδία ανέρεσης εστί. Εστί μοιασμός μυθιόμενος ή να κλονίσει την ισορροπία του πνεύματος. Τας γυναίκας διαπέχεσθε πόρο ταύτης, το αυτό και της δούλης. Τους νέους δι διδάσκεσθε τα επιμηχανήματα αυτής, ή να ή της ή αναγνωρίζουν ταύτα. Εστιμιασμός μυθιόμενος ή να κλονίσει την ισορροπία του πνεύματος. Τας γυναίκας διαπέχεσθε πόρο ταύτης.
Και τελετάρχα, έως μάστερη
Επικαλούμε σε μάκα πολλών περίπολη και τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ ιδέ και ιές σκεπτούχε κούρε δημάτορ βοτριόκοσμε οδηγέ των κομμών,
Θεόν Πάτερ ιδέ και ιές σκεπτούχε κούρε δημάτορ βοτριόκοσμε οδηγέ των κομμών, ελθέμα καρδίς και συγκρίων και καημένος εΐος. Επικαλούμεσαι, μάκρα πολιών, πυρίπολε και τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ μάκρα πολιώνυμε, πυρίπολε και τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ ιδέ και ιές, υπούχε κούρε δημάτων βοτριόκος με οδηγέ των κομμών,
Έχουμε και σάρα για παιδιά.
Και άπατα τα της πόλης αγαθά πίσω. Όταν ηλικιωθώ, τότε σε
Θεόν πάτερη δε και ιε, σκεφτούσε, κούρε δημάτων, πατριώκος με οδηγέ των κομμών, εν θέ, μάκα, πίστε συμβρίων και χαρημένος εή.
πόθεν είσαι.
Hey.
Γαλώνουμε και πολιώνουμε, χθονία και χειροκτόνη, φυλαγρό.
Επικαλούμε σε μάκα, πολιώνουμε, περίπολε και τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ, Δέχε, Κούρε Δημάτωρ, ο τριόκοσμο ηγέτων κομμών. Μεγαλώνουμε και πολιώνουμε, τονία και πυροκτόνη, φυλαγρότη και λυπηρία, δρυμονίτης και βρωτών ελπίς, ελθέ, και κατέχεις ωραίων δρυμούς, ελθέ θεασότια. Είδαν ως πάνω χρέος,
Καταδικαστέ ημίνε ηθικέ αξίε το τραγωδοποιό. Τραγωδοποιός έστι κλέπτης ως δια των υποκριτών κλέπτη την χάριν του έθνους. Κύκλωθεν των τραγωδών εξ απόρων διηφαίνει μια ψευδομυθία ή της συνεπιφέρει πράξεις και παρεπόμενα. Πράξεις και παρεπόμενα αυτών άθλινα προεπιλέγονται και υφάπτονται αλήθειες κατά το δέος και
τραγωδία ανέρεσης εστί, εστιμιασμός μυτιόμενος ή να κλονίσει.
Και τον της εταίρης πλούτων κτίσωμο. Όταν ηλικιωθώ, συμμορήτησές μου και φόβον παρέξω της χωρικής. Όταν ηλικιωθώ, έμπορος έσω και άπαντα τα της πόλεως αγωθά κτίσωμο. Όταν ηλικιωθώ, συμμορίας
αντιλαμβανόμεθα ότι
ως γέγηθα ατεωρών σε.
Αληθές εστί.
Κατανοώ ότι θέλεις να συναντήσεις σε μη. Κατανοώ ότι θέλεις να συναντήσεις σε μη. Τύπον εκεί θε των σφετέρων διαφευτισμών έργα.
Παρόδο, των χρεών της Χήρας.
One of the most impressive dedications to Apollo came from the Knidians, a Greek population that colonized the island of Lipari, north of Sicily. The story behind this dedication is notable. The Knidians were at war with the Etruscans in the Tyrrhenian Sea. Seeking a good omen, the Knidians consulted the oracle, and following her advice, they successfully captured 20 enemy ships. To thank Apollo, they offered the god the same number of statues as ships seized.
Προείδηκα το πατρί σου ότι έβη πάτηνα.
Εγώ, εστιχούτω το δώρον αυτής εκ του τάφου.
Ημί ο πρεσβύτερος.
Οι χαρακτήρες εν τες τραγωδίες προαιρούνται του ύψους της διανοίας.
Next to the Naxian Sphinx stood a simple structure to display offerings from the Athenians, most of which were spoils of war. In particular, these offerings, called ex-votos, were prows of sunken Persian ships. The Athenians built the Portico after their naval victory over the Persians in 478 BCE.
Καταδικαστέ ημί με ηθική αξία το τραγούδι. Η τραγωδία διαφθείρει τους νέους και ούτι καταμαλθακίζονται. Εκπλήσει, αποφέρεται το...
Ανάκρουσε πρίμνας.
Once arriving before the temple, pilgrims wishing to consult the oracle had to first pay a tax. This tax gave them the initial right to approach the altar of Apollo and make an animal sacrifice to the god. But before proceeding to the Pythia, the preliminary ritual had to succeed. If the animal reacted favorably and showed signs of acceptance to the god, it was sacrificed, and the pilgrim would be allowed to enter the temple to question the Pythia.
Η τραγωδία διευθύνει τους νέους και ούτοι καταμανθακίζονται. Εκπλήσει. Καταδικαστέα ημίν ηθικαία αξία το τραγωδοποιώ.
At last we arrive at the temple of Apollo, where the oracle relayed her prophecies. The temple was the final destination of those seeking an audience with the Pythia, and its appearance matched the majesty of its purpose. Atop its imposing columns, the structure's pediments displayed famous mythological scenes, sculpted by the renowned Greek artist Antenor. But as grand as the temple looked from the outside, it paled in comparison with what happened within.
Είναι αντιβάλλομεν το δέον γένεστε εις την συλλογισμών. Άλλο της θέμηδος ναός, ουκ εστί πανήγυρης.
Ή να σταθεί εν επιχείρημα 2 οι όροι ισί, το γίγνοσκιν και το επίσταστε. Σύμφημισι, ακαλώνημε και πολιώνημε, πυρήπολε και τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ, Ιβέ και Ιέ, σκυπτούσε, κούρε μάτους, το τριόμος επικαλούμεσαι, μάκαρ, πολιώνημε, πυρήπολε και τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ, Ιβέ και
Prophecies were given in the most restricted part of the temple, the Adyton, by a chaste woman known as the Pythia. Before delivering prophecies, she first purified herself with water, then burned laurel leaves and barley flour to begin the ritual. Finally, while seated on a tripod surrounded by offerings, the Pythia delivered Apollo's messages. Her words were often strange and indecipherable, and required further interpretation by the temple's priests. Despite much research, the exact causes of the oracle's behavior while prophesying are debated to this day.
Μεγαλώνημε Θεά, αγλαότιμε, τεχνών μήτυρ πολύολβε, πολυλίστη λυτήρα κακών, ιστρούς αυρωτών ψυχάς. Συ Θεά, δώσ' ειρήνη πολύολβων και κόρων υγεία, επεβόλμης εν ώρες, λαμψόφε βρεσίτεχνε, πολυλίστη βασίλεια, ο εολόμορφε και αγιοτάτη.
Myths say that while searching for an oracle who could impart their words to mortals, Apollo established a sanctuary on Mount Parnassos. Apollo took over this site by slaying its sinister guardian, the snake-like Python.
Άρχεστε ο άνθρωπε. Τι να σε πάβει τούτο.
Your visit is complete. I hope you now understand how important this sanctuary was, and how it affected the lives of people both in the Greek world and beyond its borders. To be honest, I could speak about Delphi all day. But what would you like to do now? Of course. Follow me.